Hi, Frank. Just a quick one. Wondering how much of a problem for you is it that you don't know your best team yet?
I see this mentioned a lot, and I got asked this a lot last season. And when you're in a process and you're trying to find your best team, we're not in the finished article. So sometimes there are players that are impressed, that are playing well. Sometimes there are players that are fighting to get in the team, and you can't just conjure up a best team. Players have to make a spot their own. And last season at different points that wasn't the case. In an ideal world, you find a team that is rolling with 16 unbeaten, and it's very easy to not change the team, to keep getting results. When you're searching for form, you're searching for individual improvements, then it's normal that the team doesn't pick itself. And we have a squad of players that sometimes you're striving to find the best.
Matt Moore, please.
Hi, Frank. Can I just ask you how annoyed you were with the way you conceded those 2 goals, and also with this run you're in? Is it time for sort of shouting and screaming and play at the players, or are you having to be careful with them and put an arm around them not to destroy them?
Oh, there's certainly a balance to that, man. I'm disappointed with both the goals, clearly, because it becomes pivotal when you come to a team that are in good form that you stay in the game early, at least, because we know we can compete with Leicester when we're playing well. But when you go 2-0 down and you're in a difficult period of form, it affects the game hugely. The first is a set piece that we need to deal with better. People don't do their jobs. The second is poor defending on the right-hand side of our defence. So clear individual errors and mistakes that will give goals away. And then from then the game's very tough. But listen, things that have to be said have to be said. And reflection is not for me to say it to them straight after the game. The players know that they were beaten by a better team tonight. A team in good form, a team that we competed with to the end last season, and a team at the minute we are points behind, and the sort of team that we want to be able to catch. But when we played tonight like we did, the general theme of our performance was slower, was more sluggish, was lacking confidence, but it was also lacking a bit of desire to run, and that comes hand in hand with confidence at times. And when a team's confident, then they look like Leicester. It looked like we did a month ago, and it shows you a very clear message to the players is that when you're playing well like we were, you relax and settle down a little bit, and this game kicks you up the backside. And, that's what's happened tonight. Got beaten by a better team.
Andrew Dillon.
Hiya, Frank. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, yeah, good, Andy. Here.
Hiya, Frank. Yeah. There's obviously, I know we've spoken before, and with Chelsea, the inevitable questions start rising every time you lose a game or you dip into bad form. You said yourself when you took this job that if you got into, if things didn't go well, your reputation would last about 5 minutes with the board and with the fans. I just wondered, do you get a sense of time running out for you, or do you still think like you've got a long lease of life to turn this thing around?
I try not to sense any of it, Andy, because I can't control it. And I don't think this is the first time I've been asked this. I've been asked this over the last few weeks. In the minute of 16 unbeaten, we lost 2 on the bounce, and I started to be asked similar questions. And I understand it. It's the expectations of this club, whether I think it's right or wrong. We're certainly not, and I said this in my pre-match, we're not a position of a Chelsea football club that we were in periods where we were winning leagues. The squad consistency is not the same. The players, the level, the robustness, the experience of winning Premier Leagues and what have you is not the same. The ability of players that can get you results, particularly at the top end of the pitch in a tight game, or defend not like we did today for the 2 goals, is not quite there. It's a developing team, but I can't get caught up in what reaction will be, because I'll be sitting there all day concerned about it. I took this job knowing that there'll be difficult times, because it's not a club ready to compete. We had a ban, we had young players. At the minute, we have new players, and we can see that the new players and the younger players are striving for form and to be settled into this team. So at the minute, we just have to fight. And where everything was rosy in early mid-December, it's not so rosy now. We're not the only team to suffer that situation. I'm not the only manager to be put under this sort of pressure. The lucky thing for me is that I'm good at handling the pressure. Don't like it. I want to win games. I want everyone to be talking about how we're moving towards the top of the league like we were a month ago. But the reality is for me that I could sense these periods will come. And that's all I have to concern myself is how to deal with them and get us out of it.
Rob Dorset, Sky Sports News.
Hi, Frank. I wonder if you feel there's certain individuals in the team that need to take a hard look at themselves, that need to step up. I wonder whether you think there's certain individuals that maybe you feel are letting you down and increasing that pressure on you that you're talking about.
I wouldn't say letting me down, because that's not my job to sit here and say that to you. But there are players that are not playing as well as they should do. Simple fact. That was clear tonight. So they're the only ones that can deal with that. I was a player for 20 years. And I know that when your form's not good, there can be a multitude of reasons why confidence drops. The things you can deal with in front of you, which is how you work in training, how you prepare, how you handle setbacks, will be what define you. And there are players in our team for sure that are in that position.
James,
And a quick follow-up, Frank, if that's okay. I mean, look, I know from what you're saying, it's a work in progress. It's not fair to compare this Chelsea team with so many new players with the great Chelsea teams that you were involved in. But the great Chelsea team you were involved in had yourself, it had John Terry, it had Ashley Cole, it had a host of leaders on the pitch. Is that what you're lacking right now, a leader on the pitch?
Well, it's not for me to compare necessarily. I think it's just a fact. It's a fact of where we are as a club, for sure. And if you look at the composition of the squad, then you can see there are young players, or there are players that were in a different league or were on loan or in the Championship within 1 or 2 seasons ago. So you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot to them for them to become, I don't know, prime John Terry overnight. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. You have to build towards that, take knockbacks, take setbacks, and get stronger. That's just the way of football. We're not that squad. We know that, and that's why we are probably in the fight that we're in now. Because to find consistency and to try and find that is the next level for us.
last question, James Robson.
Hi, Frank. Is it a personal disappointment that you're not able to get the best out of your new signings at the moment? And would you say it doesn't particularly look good when you leave Werner and Ziyech on the bench, expensive new signings? Is that a disappointment to you?
I wouldn't use the word disappointment, because I have to pick a squad out of the players that I have, and I have to pick a squad that I feel is the best one to win the game, or I think I would lose credibility. I have to try and do that. Different times of the game, I will pick different players, and Timo Werner started games for us. Hakim Ziyech has started games for us. I cannot pick every player in the team. So no, it's not a disappointment. It's just my job. It's my job to pick players that I think can win a game. Today, it's nothing to do for me, the individual selections. It's the individuals that are on the pitch didn't perform to the level that they can do, and that will lose you games.
That's it. Thanks all.
Thank you.